All right, welcome to another episode of Math on the Rocks. And we have a motley crew today. But before we ruin it, let's try and trick everybody into pressing subscribe on all your major podcast listening tools so that you're always aware when this ragtag just Scott, I can't believe this, but you're the one guy that looks respectable today in our podcast.
Well, I'm not on vacation like you two are. I mean, this is the dedication to the craft. I mean, you guys are getting to spring break, and I was spring breaking last week.
I know
So,
Cole is either spent an afternoon watching a softball game or he is currently in Acapulco enjoying something. So which one is it, Cole?
It was definitely softball, and I don't know what you're talking about vacation, Scott. I worked all day, thank you.
oh, okay. My apologies. My apologies.
Did you really work today?
Yes, yeah.
Oh man, I decided to take this whole week to be like a spring break like all the other districts in my county.
So most of our districts had last week as spring break, but I took one day last week off to kind of recover and recoup, and then back at it.
Yeah. Well, I have definitely dressed as if I am on vacation because I'm on vacation. Although I'm in the office on vacation, so I don't do vacations very well. That's great. How was school today, Scott?
It was good. It was good. Everyone was, for most part, all the kids are back physically.
Good.
We'll see if the mental aspect comes back or not. That's always the trick.
Sure.
They're physically in the room. Did they mentally come back? We'll see. We'll see.
Are they starting to look towards the end of the school year? Are they looking to summer right now?
A little bit. The seniors are they're chomping at the bit to get out of here. Yeah.
Sure.
So
that's not surprising.
But no, it's just today was all about getting focused back and making rebuilding some neural connections there.
Good.
Because we're launching into something kind of new, but we
Good.
have to build on the old stuff. It's kind of fun.
Now, for me, I'm wearing a hat, but I don't have to. Skin cancer
Woo-hoo.
Gone. It's looking good, but I don't know. I like my hat, so I wanted to wear it for our podcast.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I have the shirt. I have the shirt.
I've never seen it. I love it. I got it for my bald dome getting ready for summer, and so today was the first day I started to wear it. Hey Cole, what do we have going on for CMC?
Oh boy, we got a lot going on. So we just had a really fabulous webinar last week, which at some point we need to unpack. The one that we have with Dionne and the trust framework, and so that was exciting. So we have our next webinar coming up in just a few weeks with Christina Lincoln Moore going to join us in May. And then you and I, we are mad at work planning our P2 series that's going to kick off in August. So, I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. And every time you talk about the P2 series, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, we're up to now 5 locations, I think, or 4.
Yeah. 5 locations. Yeah. We're going to really do a cross section of the central of the state. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's getting huge. It's starting to freak me out. Which is actually but we have to start telling people, maybe they'll quit listening to our podcast if our entire year's worth of podcast episodes is all about how the symposium is coming up. It's coming up, but it is. We're only like literally 5 weeks away from the symposium that we just had, which I'm still kind of recovering from. But we are already knee deep in preparing for the symposium next year. What are you allowed to say about all of our flyer speakers?
Well, we have a really awesome lineup coming back in. And so we have Dan Meyer joining us for the Friday night keynote. Kind of be a good energy charge, getting us ready for game night. And then on Saturday, we have Peter Liljadal and Albert Vialta going to do a keynote presentation. So we're super excited about that. And then we have Joe Bowler, Fonwen, Howie Hua, and Brad Hua. Sorry, Howie Hua. and Brandon Smith kind of leading us in our featured speaker session. So we got a lot of powerhouse names coming to join us at Central, and that's just who made the front flyer. That doesn't count
Right.
all the amazing people that are also a part of our symposium. And so we only have about 15 slots left, and we'll be booked out for all our sessions next year.
That's incredible. Now, are you going to mention our 3 leadership speakers that are also going to be on the flyer?
That is a good reminder. So we have Latrinda Knighton, which is the current NCTM president.
Yep.
Kendall Brown, which is the math project executive director, and then the incredible Annie Fetter, the original Notice and Wonder Woman,
Right.
will be there in the flesh. So it's gonna be really great. Super excited for it.
So we need teachers now to start like getting the flyer. So we'll try and get the link to the flyer in the show notes. We need to get teachers to start already harassing their principals about saving money to send people to the symposium next year, because it is absolutely going to be monumental. It's going to kick butt next year.
And don't forget, there's that letter that comes to our website about why you should be attending this. So a lot of the principals would like to have that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. That was a big selling point this year for me to be able to go to as many conferences as I went to.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fan freaking tastic. Now, here's why I am especially motivated by our symposium for next year. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with the California Math Council news, because of course this is a California Math Council podcast. We're supporting CMC, and I want to brag. So I'm gonna change the screen, and I'm gonna go to our basic website. Here's our website. Woohoo! Yay! But here's the neat thing. So our vision right here, amongst other things, says that we are committed to promoting professional activities that will ensure continual improvement towards excellence in teaching of mathematics. Okay, that's fine. But it always drove me crazy because our bullet just said promoting professional activities. It didn't ever like, oh yeah, we promote it. To me, that was too wimpy. And what we need to say and what we need to do is step up as an organization, and we need to say we are going to provide professional activities. So, Cole, do you want to share the news from our last CMC state meeting? What did we change it to?
So we changed it to promote and provide
Yes.
professional learning, right?
Yes. And we added some other words, some really important words, but I don't know which. Like we talked about equity. We added equity for each and every student in there somewhere. But today, what we're going to talk about is the idea of CMC, the premier professional organization for teaching mathematics in the nation, with the possible exception of NCTM. But as the 5th largest economy in the world, the professional organization for math teachers has finally stepped up and to say, hey, we are not just going to promote professional activities, we are going to provide and promote professional activities. And here's the thing, it came at the right perfect time, because on Blue Sky today, I'm kind of scrolling because unlike Scott, I didn't have to wake up and take a shower. I didn't have to do anything. I'm sipping my coffee. I'm watching my chickens in the backyard, and I'm reading through Blue Sky, and all of a sudden I get hit smack in the head with this article that talks about elementary schools. The teachers who are responsible for teaching math have kind of a shaky grasp of math, which is kind of like perfect timing, because whoop-bam, CMC is got an answer for them. We're going to provide professional learning for those teachers, because when you scroll through and you read this article, no fault of the teachers. It's really just saying, and this is coming from the National Council on Teachers of Mathematics, that basically they're being set up for failure. They're not really being set up from the get-go as they enter the profession they're not being provided the necessary skills for how to teach math. Well, heck, they're not even being set up with the necessary skills for how to understand mathematics. And then to add to the trouble, we're not training them on how to teach mathematics. And it has its consequences. It means we're putting teachers into the profession on thin ice. And then the way schools are, they're not really equipped, ironically, to provide good training for the teachers. They're pretty good at trying to train kids, but the teachers have a shaky grasp of mathematics. And so we have to do something about how do we help teachers not be overwhelmed with the mathematics that they're supposed to teach. And instead, how do we equip them with the math understanding and the math instructional strategies necessary to do all the change that we want? So I think CMC is now officially poised to provide the kind of training that we now have unquestionable data that the teachers need it. CMC could provide it. Let's do it. Cole, what do you think?
So I think that we are, as an organization, are on the right track. But I think that when I reflect on like why do the university programs, why do they struggle? Why are we having those gaps? I kind of think about like what makes like our model successful, and our model is successful because we get to work with teachers who have access every day to kids. Right. So it's not just the theory that we are rolling out and saying, here is the math knowledge that you need to know, or the pedagogy, right? We're saying, here are the things that you need. Now let's go try that and reflect on it. And teachers, until they get to their student teaching phase, they don't have that access.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that is such an important piece of the work, that how do you mimic that or replicate that without actual students who are going to give you those curveball answers, or the new ways of thinking that you weren't thinking about, to prepare you for what that would look like in a real classroom.
True. But okay, so you're saying, okay, so you kind of slipped into your county office of education hat, because that's what we do at the county office. Is our model is all based on providing training at school sites, which means a lot of our training for teachers can be done in classrooms with kids as part of the training, part and parcel of the training, to make that professional learning really authentic, because you can't get any more authentic than being in a classroom with the actual kids. And so, we have to convince school districts to do that. Like, there's value in it. It's hard, it's slow. And the article is saying their teachers are not as equipped as we would like them to be, or as not as equipped as we would like to think they are. Bless their little hearts, the superintendents really, 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 really think their teachers know a lot more math than they really do. And it's, again, not the teacher's fault. It's the whole system is, right from the get-go, is not equipping teachers properly. Now, Scott, you're an actual teacher. So
you guys are both teachers too. Come on now.
no, can you back me up on this? Do you get PD that actually deeply talks about math, as opposed to math tangential things like grading or building thinking classrooms or number talks? Those are math tangents. Those aren't math. Like, do you ever do PD where the whole room of teachers are trying to figure out how to complete the square using algebra tiles, or how to make sense of the volume of a sphere being 4/3 pi r cubed and all that sort of stuff? How often do you get that kind of training?
I had to search it out.
Yeah.
Back when I first started, for anybody who was back in the Stone Age, when I started teaching around here in the Fresno area, there was a thing called the Algebra Forum.
Yep.
And that was something that was big, and that actually kind of spurned on some bigger things at the state level. But then there was Fresno Pacific used to do a week-long algebra, like it was like an academy almost. It was by teachers for teachers. They took some of the big hitters in the area, people that we've leaned into as far as CMC goes at times. They've been presenters for us. But it was real teachers from the classrooms sharing what they've learned in their classrooms, bringing in the hands-on pieces, how to attach it, connect to it. But I had to search it out. I had to ask to go to it. And ironically, I'm not from California originally. I came from Washington State, where they actually do have a bachelor's degree in elementary education, and you can major in a content area. So I actually have a bachelor's in elementary education with a major in elementary mathematics and then a reading minor. I took a bunch of classes in my undergrad that set me up. But I can tell you, my first year standing there at the board teaching a bunch of sixth graders, and that moment I made a connection, I'm like, hey, this goes with that. Wow, that's cool. Okay. Huh. Yeah. And like, do you guys get this? And they're all going, what? Thank goodness they were all doodling and they didn't have phones back then, So they actually had to use small fires, semaphore to send messages, unlike now. But I was making the connections. I did it 2 weeks ago, standing in front of my class. I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're all like, okay, what are you nerding out on now, Mr. E? I'm like, oh, this. Or like, and one kid goes, that's kind of cool. The rest of them are like, please, you're killing me. So, but I had to search out professional learning, especially early on. But then God bless Lori Hamada. She brought me into CMC.
Yeah.
And let me, I really didn't know much about it. I maybe had been to a conference, but then gosh, she brought me into it. And then it was kind of, then I got to be surrounding myself with other professionals, not at my school site. That's a huge thing too.
Right.
I mean, come on, how many times have the three of us sat down drawing things on napkins and trading things back and forth? I mean, that's where my learning really came from, is with collaborating with others.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking, it says, this article says National Council on Teacher Quality. They recommend credential programs dedicate 150 instructional hours to math content and pedagogy. 150. My guess is that's probably 10 times more than what they're currently getting. They probably are getting a 15-week course, like a single 15-week course. Let's call it 30 hours total. So maybe they're getting, that's 5 times more than what a typical credential program might be offering.
Yeah. So I remember like a class that I took after I had my degree. So I already had my math degree. I'd already been teaching for several years. I went back and I took an elementary math methods course.
Oh, wow.
Because at that point in time, I wanted to go and get my multiple subject credential, just in like one of those things, just in case, right? Yeah. And so I was working on that, and it was through that class that the professor actually was invested in making sure that you understood the math and why the tricks were working.
Right.
That I learned so much about multiplication in that just a few week time period of that class. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a class, it's elementary methods that every middle school math teacher should take.
Sure.
As we're grappling with supporting middle school kids who don't know how to multiply.
Right.
And it's like, at what point, at what levels of understanding, how far up should we go? I think the problem is not just what is happening in those classes, but then they're held accountable to that test at the end of the light that right now is making them know rings and fields and all kinds of nonsense stuff, as opposed to how deeply do you understand like the math that you're teaching. And I know there's arguments on both sides, but honestly, like that's what colleges are preparing kids to need to take.
Yeah.
Is to pass the teacher prep classes or tests.
Yeah.
That are not asking you how well you understand the math, or the deep knowledge. They're asking, can you solve questions related to the content in those areas?
Yeah. Our podcast with Nigel and Brandon at the symposium, Brandon said, wouldn't it be nice if students, instead of going faster, they go deeper? And he was kind of teasing, saying, wouldn't it be nice if a fifth grader, instead of moving on to sixth or seventh grade math, if that fifth grader got a master's degree or a PhD in fifth grade math? And you are kind of reminding me of that, Cole. Like, so as teachers are entering the profession, whether they're kinder through 12th grade, it isn't the barrier to becoming a teacher shouldn't be, do you remember what rings and fields and super deep calculus is? The what the criteria should be, how deep can you go into maybe K5 or K8 mathematics? Do you have the math PhD, so to speak, in seventh grade proportions? And that is going to prepare you for teaching way better than thinly understanding rings and fields so that you could pass a test so you can immediately forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I look at it from the standpoint too that, you know, it every kid is an individual case a lot of times. They're not all going to learn the same way at the same pace. So being able to recognize that and have the strategies in place to do that, and unfortunately, a lot of times this is through trial and error. But if you have a collaborative community to work within, back in the days, and I will refuse to use the new name, back in the Twitter days, I mean the MTBOS,
Yep.
the Math Twitter blogosphere, when that was at its peak, and I was at the county office when you guys, doing the work we were doing together. I would come in for the first half an hour of my day, and I would just go through and I would send myself article links off of Twitter, and
Mhm.
that was my reading that was my professional reading for the day. I'd read 4 or 5 articles. That was, great. It works in practice. In practice, it didn't work in practice. It worked in theory, but it got now I get to put all that to what I learned to practice,
Yeah.
doing that. But having that ability to see what other people are doing, see what they're thinking about, was I think that's kind of the granular level of it. And I think that's where CMC going forward does a really good job. We don't just bring in talking heads.
Yep.
Um,
I'm going to challenge us, as we're going to wrap up this podcast real soon. I'm going to challenge us. And here's my challenge for CMC is that somehow Central is not the only region that provides the 5 P2 conferences, the webinar, the podcast. I'm going to challenge CMC as a state. And so I want the 6,000 members of CMC to start harassing through email nicely our president, saying we want more professional learning hosted by CMC because our districts aren't providing it. Our credential programs aren't providing it. So we might as well have the professional organization of the 5th largest economy in the world providing it. And it started so far with CMC Central with our P2 conferences. I think South and North should chip in with ongoing year-round professional learning opportunities, because clearly the research is saying we need it. We are our lived experience. Scott, you experienced it. You had to go find it your own self instead of the schools providing it for you. MTBOS was wonderful while it lasted. It's dead. I mean, you could still find the hashtag, but it's not a living, breathing community anymore. So CMC needs to step in and support teachers the way teachers need support. They deserve it, and nobody's giving it to them. So let's provide it.
and what do people want to know? That's the thing. I mean, this profession is not easy. There's so many areas we can wander into. I mean, from the pedagogical standpoint of things, which we understand, we know that we can do better. I would love to maybe sometime if we can get Howie to pop on.
Oh
And
yeah,
bring Howie. I don't know if Howie signed up for one of our months or not, but he would be a great person to maybe come in and talk about this because that's what he teaches.
right.
He teaches elementary teachers. He teaches the elementary math to our K-8 teachers,
Yeah,
and he does an amazing job of it. And
yeah.
I'm wondering where his perspective would take us. That's all.
Yeah. I also wonder too. I know that we're working a lot with affiliates throughout the organization. And I know that we have a meeting coming up later this week to talk about how do we strengthen our affiliate support and how do we make the ones that have gone a little dormant more active, coming out of COVID and stuff still. And I wonder how, as an organization, we can lean into that a little more and leverage our affiliates, even if the folks in those affiliates may not want to lead, but they could help us organize in
Sure.
their area, right? There's no reason we couldn't do a third grade math for understanding workshop virtual and all of our affiliates meet up and they all are together and doing something, but we have one central location that we're all zooming from to lead the workshop.
Oh, dude, you just gave me an idea. Why aren't we doing that? That is a great idea. Let's, like, as a state, run a series of K through, let's start K8. So 9 webinar series. Let's say 3 or 4 webinars at each grade level. So let's say 4. So that's 36 webinars that CMC could host, that is free, grade level specific, and we talk about math at that grade level 3-4 times throughout the year. So it's kind of, we follow the canon of how things are typically taught, and that's our subject for each of the 4 sessions for that grade level, and do that K through 8. Cole?
And then we could do that. And then we could bring in other folks on our board or in our office that we know that would want to give back to the organization to do a Saturday webinar, post the schedule out so everyone knows when the kinder series, what days they are and what days the first grade ones are, and
Yeah.
just roll it. 'Cause that's 36 weeks. That's about half of the school year that we would be leading a webinar. So we're going to definitely need help.
Yes. Well, hey, it turns out our podcast reaches about 12 people. So, hey,
Well, that's great.
if
Up
any of
from
the,
8, outstanding. We're up 4.
I'm just
Woohoo.
saying, if any of the 12 people who are listening right now want to reach out, Cole, what's your email address?
Yeah, the easiest right now is to get me at my office. So COSAMPSON at kern.org. So cosampson at kern.org.
We'll put that in the show notes. Scott, what's your email address?
Let's see. I don't know, where should I put it. I probably could go with my state treasurer one.
Sure, say
So
it.
state.treasurer at cmcmath.org.
Sure. And then for me, I'll do D Habecker at mcoe.org. So DHABECKER at mcoe.org. I'm going to put all of these email addresses in because I want people who are listening to this stinking podcast to say, yeah, you know what? We do want more PD for our teachers or for ourselves, and we will chip in as part of that process. Can we make a decision for the CMC organization? Can we just say we're going to do this?
Well, seeing as how most of this is done right now through Central, I think we have yes, and then we can say, hey, we're going to do this, and it's open to all of your affiliates, and they could make the choice of whether they're going to help us communicate or we'll communicate on their behalf. I think
Good.
that's easy.
We've just made a decision. People listening to this podcast, holy crap, we just made a decision for CMC. We've changed the mission statement, so we're going to do something about it, and we're actually going to provide professional. I'm actually excited. This is why we record these stupid podcasts. It's totally for me. I love this. Scott, go ahead, Cole.
I was gonna say, well, and everyone just witnessed how we go from no work to more work than we know what to do with.
Oh man, I tell you what, the last 6 months has been crazy.
So true, man.
And people are just wait to come. We have so much stuff in the hopper that
Yeah.
we should be really stay tuned what's going to happen with CMC, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk about it here, but man,
Uh-huh.
a lot of
Well,
cool things coming up.
plus Cole and me with our COE hats, we got some news going on that will involve partnership with CMC because we wrote that into our grant proposal. So there's a lot of stuff going on,
Yeah.
right, Cole?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So
News will come soon about that. We got to wait a little bit longer.
yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Anything for Scott? Anything for the good of the order?
No, just good to see y'all. Enjoy your time off. If you, Cole, take some time off, would you, man? Come on. Jeez.
Dwayne doesn't let me. He keeps making me do webinars and podcasts, and he says no sleep,
Yeah.
no sleep.
Well, you got to quit signing those 265 contracts, man.
Cole, anything for the good of the order?
No, I'm just excited about all the stuff that we have coming up. So
yeah, I'm excited right now. We got so many, what is it? So many balls in the hopper. We got a lot of stuff going on. I'm stoked. It is great seeing you guys.
Absolutely.
You have a great day.
All right, take care.
all right, take care,
All right,
guys.
see you now.